recording over here, recording right there. Here we are, man. How's it going? This is the inaugural episode of my motherfucking podcast, Tyler is Groce, with me, Tyler Groce. That's my name. You see what I did there? I beat you to it. That was the point. So I beat your ass to it, and I did it. What's going on? This is gonna go on my YouTube. It's gonna go on a podcast channel as well. So you check out my YouTube. On there, I got sketches. If you're on YouTube, check out the podcast. That's where I got this, but without my face. And on YouTube, I got sketches. And the idea is to accompany these two together so you get the full man, the full Tyler is Groce. Because, yeah, like, what I was thinking was you make these sketches and you see, and you go on YouTube. I go on YouTube. I'm a guy just like you. I go on YouTube and I see the people and I'm like, man, these people are fucking funny, man. This is some funny shit, man. And you just want to know who the person is behind it. And so I was like, fuck it. Let's just do a podcast. I know I'm good at talking. I'm good at just talking about bullshit and trying to be entertaining while I do it. So you can see the guy behind the thing and watch the sketches and be like, I'm getting a full picture of this guy. As you can see, it's not a complicated setup. I got a microphone. I got my computer's recording it. The video's recording it. I'm going to smash them shits together later. So it's just me. It's just me talking. That's what it's going to be. That's the whole point of it. Welcome. Come one, come all, like a motherfucking carnival. That's what I'm trying to do. And just kind of talk about what's going on. Which, surprise, surprise, ain't shit. I'm at my parents' house right now. I've been here for the last month. I was living outside the country for a while. I came back. Now I'm trying to get resettled in my hometown in Texas. That's where I'm from. That's where I'm at. And trying to get resettled. So I'm staying in my parents' house in my room. Which you'll find out when you leave your parents' house. You just ain't got a room no more. They just have more storage. You leave and they say, hey, this is your room. You can come back. You can sit. You can chill. We're going to keep your bed. And they do all of that. But then I'm looking around. There's just shit everywhere in this goddamn room. There's just everywhere. I got a pile. Okay, so all right, there's a pile of my clothes. That's true. That is what it is. But I'm like, you can throw these clothes away. I don't need them anymore. Those are all my Echo shirts. Remember Echo? That's all my FUBU and my Echo from when I was trying to be like a young black youth. Remember those days? Hey, YouTube. Hey, podcast. Remember the days when you was trying to be a young black youth? Me too. Because I was a young black youth and I wanted to fit in more. So they told me, I think when I used to wear, like Walmart Dragon shirts, because that's what my mom got me. And then I went to school and these black kids was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, oh, okay. For us, by us, got it. I'll buy some. And so I begged my mother for Christmas to buy me some FUBU, buy me some Sean John, buy me some Echo, some Jinko jeans, motherfucker. That's what I asked for. And so now that's all just in the corner over there. And my mom's like, hey, do you want to look through that stuff and make sure that you don't need anything? And I'm like, no, I don't need anything. It's been 15 years. I think I'm good. I'm good on those clothes. Now I just wear nondescript seafoam shirts. I wear the same pants every day. If I get a stain, guess what? I got stained pants. I've never washed a pair of pants a day in my life. Because, yeah, okay, so I look like I have jizz all over my pants. What? You can't prove that it is or isn't. Is that a fact or no? You can't prove it. So you'll think it. Oh, people think it. But isn't that the worst? You spill some shit. Like you have a favorite pair of pants and you spill some shit. Like you're hoping it's like ketchup or something where you're like, oh, it's just, clearly that's food. But then you spill like toothpaste or ice cream on like black pants and you're like, there's nothing I could say to anybody looking at my pants to convince them otherwise that it It's something legitimate. Everyone's gonna think come. And, good on them. But yeah, I just got a bunch of shit. And she's like, do you want anything? I'm like, I don't want anything. Please throw it away. And then I leave for months. I go on adventures. I go and do comedy. I'm a stand-up comedian, by the way. I do stand-up. I do sketch. Like I said, it's on YouTube. I got a Patreon on there as well. Donate. Give me a little bit of money so I can keep on doing this shit. And you give me money. That's fun, right? That's fun. You give me money. I do shit. Why not? Tyler is Groce on Patreon. What was my point? Money. Look through it. I go on my adventures for 6 months. I'm a stand-up comedian. I do sketch. I do improv. I do all of these things. I go to Europe to do it sometimes. I got a brother out in Europe. My brother lives in Spain. I come back here, and it's just somehow the pile's gotten bigger. It's like she pulls out. She's like, oh, also, got some Hollister clothes from when you were in high school. I'm like, we don't wear this shit no more. We don't wear it. Let's move on. Now I just wear t-shirts that I get from comedy festivals. I wear that because it makes me feel like I'm in the club. Am I? Time will tell. But for right now, that's what I do. So that's where I'm at my parents' house. I'm working on moving to Austin. That's where I'm trying to be. It's a big comedy place. I mean, I started off in Austin. I started doing stand-up in Austin, Texas, back in 2015. So I started doing it. And I did that for like 3 years. So like I'm a straight Austinite, baby. Like Franklin's barbecue and everything. You feel me? If you know anything about Austin, they got good barbecue. So I'm going back there. I got to go back to the homies after COVID. COVID's down. Texas is open. Should they be open? I've been here so long, I don't even know what the rest of the country's doing. Is California open? Don't know. Is New York open? Don't know. Is the middle of the country open? No idea. I know Texas opened early. I know it wasn't a good idea at the time, but we've all seemed to just like, you know what it is in Texas? Is we opened up too soon. Because we had the big Texas freeze, because there's the big winter storm came and froze the whole state, and power went out and everyone was suffering and shit. And so the governor was like, "Hey, let's open up early so y'all can forget that I fucked that whole freeze thing up." And guess what? We did. It's amazing how the media works. How they get us. They get us, and there's nothing we can do about it. Even if we know, not a damn thing we can do about it. But anyway, that's what he did. So we've been open, and at first we were like, man, what a mistake. And now we've just been open, and I think everyone's more happy. Everyone is like, man, like, okay, should we be open? Probably not. Am I about to go to the movie for the first time in like a year and a half? Hell yeah. Like, we just don't care. I don't know anyone who cares. And so things are just open. So I'm trying to get back to Austin, get back into the stand-up scene, start doing my goddamn thing. I'm trying to get this online shit going. I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row, just to kind of see what happens. This whole thing is an experiment. I've done some podcasts before. I've done a few. I got a backlog if you want to check it out. Off the Dome, the Austin Freestyle Podcast. That's on all the places. I got another podcast right now, a Special Take with Sid and Tyler, where we review comedy specials. So I got shit going on, but I've never done just this, where I film it, put it together, put it out there. It's just me. It's just good old Tyler. It's just, I'm just here. I'm just here talking to you. And so it's all an experiment. I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row to get back to doing my goddamn thing. It's been a crazy time. I had some sad news. I had a person pass away in my family, and so I've been kind of with my family dealing with that a little bit. And it's one of these situations where it's important to me to be with my family in this time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not personally so affected, and yeah, I feel like a dick. There's all everyone knows someone who has died, and they're like, "Oh no, man, I should feel more. I feel like I should feel more, but I don't. I just don't. I just don't. I feel I can only you only feel what you feel. That's what I've learned by now. Is that you feel what you feel. I've always felt like other people, they see a movie, it's great, it sucks, it's great, it sucks, oh my god. They eat food, oh my god, it's amazing, oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. I'm always just like, yeah, it's most things are pretty good. Or most things are, if things aren't pretty good, they're probably like fine. And to me, fine's bad. I'd rather have awful than bad, you know what I mean? But, I digress. So I'm doing being with the family because it's important for the people around me, and I want to be there with them. It's got me thinking about death and stuff like that. Not like, you know. It's funny. I asked my dad, and you know, he's my dad. So like, imagine your dad. Exactly. You know, like it's your dad, and we're driving in the car. We don't, you know, it's like late and we're tired. And it's like, you know, we got like a 40-minute drive to get back to the house so we can like go to sleep for the night. And, but you know, we also have to talk for 40 minutes. So it's like, it's one of these things like, I can't just blast The Weeknd because he'll be like, hey, he'll be like, you know, like, he'll be like, oh, that music is too, it's too poppin'. Oh, I mean, he's not like an 80-year-old man, but he's not down with The Weeknd like that. And that's what I've been bumping. And I was just like, do you believe in a soul? Can you imagine asking your father, do you believe in a soul? Like, I wanted to know, genuinely. I wanted to know his answer. But then also, it's just such a ridiculous question. I am almost 30. I'm almost a 30-year-old man asking his father. That's something you ask when you're 8. That's something you ask your dad when you're 8 years old, or you ask your friend when you're 21. 28 is not the time to ask your father if he believes in a soul. And you know, he said he did. What was it? He said basically his mother passed away in the 70s. And then like a month later, she called him on the phone. Can you believe that? Called him on the phone. He was like, hello? And she was like, I'm okay. And he was like, what the fuck? And then she was like, she was gone. And I mean, what do you do with that? What do you do with any ghost story, any afterlife story? Listen, I don't know if I believe in God, but I've certainly felt him. You know, I've felt him at moments. I've felt him when, you know, like you waiting for that job, and then you get the job and you're like, I knew it, Jesus. You know, like those moments where you're like, you're running late to a important event, and you get the parking space right in front, and you're like, you did it again, JC. But I never got a phone call from, you know, Martin Luther King. I never got a phone call from someone's dad. I can't say I've had that. Been like, Tyler, I had a dream and the dream was true. Okay. Alright, so fine. I just wanted to do Martin Luther King impression. What are you gonna do? But yeah, I've never had that before. And I've never really known someone with a true ghost story. And that's like, I mean, my rule on ghost stories is I believe it if it happened to you. But if you heard it from someone, I don't believe it. It needs to be direct experience. I wonder, because ghosts reveal themselves if they're real. Ghosts reveal themselves. Is it like Santa, where like they he only reveals himself if you believe, or is it like the opposite of Santa? I guess the devil. Santa brings you gifts, and the devil tortures you for eternity. The opposite of gifts. Is it like the devil, where ghosts only come if you don't believe, to like scare you into believing? That would make sense too. Why don't they visit me? And I think it's because I would believe it if I saw a ghost, but I wouldn't be scared because fuck it. What are you gonna do? It's a ghost. It's a ghost. What do ghosts do? They move your glass across the table. When you turn away, you're like, where are my keys? And the keys are on the floor. And it's like, how did they get there? A ghost. Oh no. It's like, if the motherfucker put the keys on the floor, I mean, like, if that's the best you got, then fine. I'm okay with that. You're not gonna, if I saw a knife floating and then coming for me, that's scary. But just moving the keys on the floor when I'm in the other room, I mean, you're leaving, if that's what a ghost does, you're leaving a lot of room for me to just imagine that I knocked the keys down. It's a bad ghost move. That's like a graffiti artist tagging like the police. It's like, you're making me think it's the police and it's not you, the graffiti artist. That's why they write their name. They're like fucking the red faces gang. That's why they write that, so you know who did it. They don't write like, hoodlums, because that's a generic name. They don't write like this was planted by the police to make you think that this neighborhood is dangerous. No, they just write the name of who did it because they're proud of it. See, if when gangs die, they became ghosts, those would be the most gangster ghosts. You know what I mean? Them ghosts would be fucking. They wouldn't be messing around with this like, ooh. They would be like, ooh, West Side, bitch. Like they would. They would be like about it. There wouldn't be any of this like. It's like, oh, I heard that house has been haunted for 40 years. Like the ghost would come in your face like, what, motherfucker, what? What, you think this house is haunted, nigga? You haunted. I'm coming for your ass. Like that's what they would do. Then this is the other thing that sucks about being in this house. Like I gotta whisper. It's like late. It's like, 3 a.m. right now. It's kind of late. So, I want to like get excited and shit. And that's why I'm trying to get out of here, to get to my apartment so I can just yell and scream and record and just be a silly boy. Just be a silly boy. That's all I'm trying to do. Just trying to be a silly boy, It's hard to be silly around the house. Cause this is what happens is you grow up. This is a theory I've been thinking about. Like, so I'm 28, right? Last 5 or so years, from probably 3 years for me, has been like realizing like, oh, I was at my best when I was like 8 to 10 years old, somewhere in there. That was peak Tyler. Like I was silly. I think 8 years old. I remember because I grew up Catholic. I got confirmed at a Catholic church, and I was wearing a suit. I was wearing a little suit because I didn't get confirmed. I got first communion, so I could finally. If you don't know Catholics, you go in the line and you get the body of Christ, and they hold it up, and then you take it and you eat it. It gets stuck to the roof of your mouth. You peel it off. You go to the wine and you go, I'm drinking wine. And then they're like, it's the blood of Christ. And I'm like, yeah, bitch. Well, why don't you give me a whole glass then? And then they're like, nah. So, first communion, I was wearing a suit. And I had never worn a suit before because I was like 8 years old. Why else would have worn a suit? I wasn't a little businessman. I was just a little boy. So I'm wearing the suit and I'm fucking posing and taking pictures and doing like super. I'm being so fucking silly. Just because like how a little boy should be. And that was peak Tyler. And then you hit middle school, and then everyone's like, hey, actually you're a freak, and you're just like, okay, you just believe them right away. Because why would you not believe these people who are your age and know just as much as you? They clearly are your boss now. Clearly, your peers matter most, and anything they say goes. And they say FUBU, and I say how high. You know what I mean? And so then that's when they start attacking your self-esteem, and you go lower. About 18, getting to college, and that's when I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, new year, new me. You know, I start coming out of my shell a little bit. I start coming out a little bit, and people are like, yeah, we like it. Come out a little bit more. They're like, yeah, we like it. And that happens until you're around 25. This is completely my story. You feel free to have your own story. 25 comes around. I'm doing comedy, doing this thing that's hard and challenging and rewarding and fulfilling, and I'm feeling real confident in myself. And I'm like, remembering, like, you know what? I can be more myself on stage and off stage and in life and with the ladies and like with everything. And I'm like, who am I? What is the most me? And it was me at 8 years old getting my first communion in that suit, posing like a motherfucking G. If I could show you the picture, I don't have it. I can picture it perfectly in my mind. I'm sure it's somewhere in this house, in another pile, not in my clothes, but in another pile of just pictures. Like, that was me. That was me, just silly old me, doing my goddamn thing, not a care in the world, just thinking it was silly. My mom taking pictures, loving it, eating it up with my ham. And even now, this podcast, these videos, everything I'm trying to do is getting back to being 8-year-old Tyler at my first communion. That's what this whole thing is about. I got a pile of reminders in the corner saying, hey, look, this is what you used to be, FUBU and Jinko jeans. And then I left one of my adventures. I came back and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should thank my mother for saving those, because that's who I used to be and that's who I'm trying to get back to. And that's what I think your latter half of your 20s is hopefully getting back to 8-year-old you. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what this whole motherfucking thing is about. This podcast, these sketches. This is who it is. This is what it is. So, I think that's episode 1. That feels like a real good wrap up for me. I know it was a bit all over the place, which it will continue to be. The effort of this is as low as possible. But it feels like a good place to wrap up. Feels like I feel like I pulled pieces together. If I was gonna rate that podcast, which why would I? Why not just let it be what it is? No, if I was gonna rate it, I'd say a B+ for the first one. First one's a B+. Let me know. Don't. Let me know if you love it. If you don't, just don't tell me. That's what I think. Just don't tell me. Go on my Patreon, Tyler is Groce at Patreon. Go and check that out. Go look up my podcast on your Apple Podcasts. Go and look up the YouTube channel and my sketches on there. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Both of those are like TJ Groce. Just find me. Take me out. Tyler Groce. I'm all over the place. Appreciate it, man. I want to keep doing these about once a week. Just to let you know what's going on with me. It's going to continue to be like low key like this, where I'm just in my bed, chilling, talking. And, hopefully this is something to somebody. So if you got questions for me too, you can email me at tylerisgroce@gmail.com. That'd be great. Anything you want. That's it. I'm done talking. God bless. Thank you so much. Peace.